I have no idea how long this video is actually going to be, but I'm very proud of myself that this is on my second channel and that I'm finally uploading a full length. Hi, it's Ashley from Need More Sweet Dreams Bake Shop. If you came from my primary channel, welcome. Thank you for watching. I have been working really hard to get this channel monetized, but I completely understand why it isn't, because I think you have to upload videos in order to get channels monetized. And I want to preface all of this by saying I am not a nutritionist, so definitely don't take anything that I say as medical knowledge. I am a teacher, I have an educational degree, nothing to do with medicine whatsoever. And also, I'm not a life coach, I'm not here to sell you on a program. So first off, let's start off with my weight loss journey and just my fitness journey. I keep calling it a weight loss journey, but really, for me, it was more about fitness than weight loss. So I have always been very active my whole life. I was a figure skater for 14 years competitively, and I would say all the way into my 20s, I was relatively thin, I guess. I was 125 pounds on my wedding day, and I remained kind of that weight, anywhere in the ballpark of 120 to 130 pounds throughout the first couple years of my marriage. Now, children obviously did change that. I had my first child at 26, and I think I weighed around, I don't know, 130 something before actually getting pregnant. And then throughout my pregnancy, of course, I gained pregnancy weight, and I went all the way up to, I believe, about 160 something, maybe 170 something during my pregnancy. But I honestly never even really cared what I was weighing. I was just super thrilled to be pregnant. I was probably one of the happiest pregnant people ever. I really wasn't that affected by it physically. I just felt tired. I got really sick when I had my first child. So I had a C-section, and then I had to have a second surgery because of this major infection. It was very unexpected, and because of that, I had this weird perception of weight loss after pregnancy. I couldn't eat, I didn't feel like eating after pregnancy, and I couldn't even stand up straight. I had to have surgery not only this way for the C-section, but also this way. So I had a hole that was developing in my stomach. And so obviously wasn't eating a lot. Wasn't really super active either, to be fair, but I think I went down to, again, 130 pounds after I had my child. And so I didn't really see pregnancy impacting my body that much, and I kind of coasted along in the years between having my daughter and my son, and I didn't gain that much weight. I would say probably another maybe 5 to 7 pounds before I had my second child. So going into that, I was probably closer to about 140 pounds. I wasn't really that active in those years. I mean, sure, running around after a child, but I certainly didn't go to the gym. I wasn't training anymore as a figure skater. I didn't really have time to do that. I did it a little bit here and there, but really not too much. And it was at this point that I had kind of my first health wake-up call. So I had been on the cusp of having gestational diabetes with my first, but I guess I was just that much more, I don't know, fit or whatever, but also you can get gestational diabetes based on your genetics. There are plenty of people that are not fit and they still don't have gestational diabetes. So it is a combination of that. It's a combination of lifestyle as well as your background can also dictate whether you're going to have gestational diabetes or not. My sister didn't have gestational diabetes. My mom didn't have gestational diabetes, but I did. And I do think it was because I just weighed that little bit more and I wasn't really being super active. So that was my first kind of oh, I'm not super healthy. I have to do this. And this does not mean that you are unhealthy if you have gestational diabetes. However, my doctor did say it was a precursor to what can happen if you don't, keep that in check and under control as you get older somewhere down the line. My case of gestational diabetes was not serious at all. I had to give myself insulin just once a day at night, but that was it. And I did kind of fix my eating habits. I was really good about it. I never let my levels get crazy, although I am clearly a baker. I did not indulge or want to indulge in a lot of sweets. My biggest weakness, of course, is like French fries and those type of carby things. I love anything deep fried, honestly. that is my weakness. But I didn't really struggle that much during my pregnancy. After I had my son, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna start working out again. As soon as, you know, he's out of there, I'm gonna start working out. And I felt so much better, by the way, on this second time around because I was not sick. I didn't get an infection. I had a scheduled C-section this time, and I was able to live life very normally after that. So I was grateful that I was able to be up and moving a week after. So things were going pretty well. I got a gym membership a couple months after, and I started figure skating again and started training again and just overall trying to be a bit healthier. And then 2020 hit and everything was bad. My husband and I, we connect over food. Some people are not big like foodies. We are. We love eating super high-end food. We also love our junk food, and I love to be in the kitchen. So I was making, and it sounds gross now, but I was making cheese sauce probably, 3 or 4 times a week, and we would just dip all of our meals in cheese sauce because all we could really do during that time was just be stuck inside, and really that's it. I didn't have the motivation to get fit, and I was just, I was kind of depressed, but not really. I just felt like very comforted by food. When I want to relax, I go to food. During this whole 2020, and I'm sure some of you can relate, I gained a lot of weight, but it didn't look like I was gaining a lot of weight because I had had my child not too long ago. So it was kind of like I just never lost the baby weight. But I stepped on the scale, and once we had a scale, because we actually didn't have a scale for a while once 2020 hit. I think we shattered the last one or something like that. And then we finally got a scale again, and I weighed 168 pounds. Now at 5'3" and 3/4, that is considered overweight. And I know that BMI standards aren't necessarily the only standard, but like just looking at me, you could tell, and I could tell, I could just feel the weight on my body. So this was in 2020. I want to say more like 2021 is when I really started kind of being like, oh, okay, I think I weighed too much and I don't feel good. Like I just didn't feel right. My clothes, I still couldn't fit into my pre-pregnancy clothes, and it had been well over a year since I had my son. So 2021 rolls around, there's still a lot of stress, and I'm still stress eating and wanting to relax with a meal. But I did start trying to run with coworkers after school, all masked up because, it was just, that's what it was like back then. And it was okay. Like I felt like, okay, I'm a little better, but I just still didn't have the mindset of, I'm ready to commit and change my lifestyle. It was kind of like, I want to look better, so I guess I'm going to try to do this. Completely wrong mentality for somebody like me. And I wasn't fully committed. It was kind of like, I'm doing this and that's good enough. So in 2022 is when I started making more of an effort. I said to myself, I don't want to be in the 160s because I had never really seen those numbers before. So I went and I lost about, I would say 15 pounds-ish, and I got down to 150 pounds. And once I got down to 150 pounds, I started feeling better, but I was still doing it in such a way that wasn't very sustainable. So I was like, I would go on these kicks where, Monday to Friday, I would only have vegetables and fruit and really just counting calories. And that was it. Just counting calories and not going to the gym. So just counting calories and maybe still running that once or twice a week. And I did see results, obviously. I lost those 15 pounds. But it wasn't it wasn't good enough to be sustainable. I did maintain 150 pounds for a while. And I did see a change. It wasn't until like late 2022 when everybody around me started to also focus more on their bodies. But it wasn't in the same way. You know, when you're a teen or, you know, in your early 20s, and it's all about vanity and it's all about looking good. It was no longer about that. It was, I want to feel good. I want to be able to keep up with my kids, and I want to be able to just be strong and have longevity in this life. That is more what I was thinking of. And I think with that shift alone in my head, that really helped. Because my body, realistically, is never going to look like the version that I wanted of myself when I was 20. It just isn't. So I'm sure this is the part of the video that most people want to hear about. How did I actually go from this to this? And it really was a shift in mindset. It is all mindset. The thing I did the first time was I got a fitness app, MyFitnessPal, I'm pretty sure. Anybody that wants to lose weight goes to that first. And I, would input my calories. I was still eating relatively poorly, but just like saying, okay, but I'm eating under my calorie limit, so I'm fine. And I will say this, you can lose weight eating McDonald's. You can. The science of calories in, calories out is the way it is. And anybody that says differently is probably because they're not actually counting their calories properly. In order to really count your calories properly, you have to weigh it out. That is the only way to be able to actually see if you're eating your calorie goal. And to be honest, if you're eating out, if you're socializing, you're going to guesstimate your calories wrong. You can be close, but you can be off by a few hundred calories. And a few hundred calories makes the difference of eating in a deficit and not. So I didn't do that this time. I did not say that I was going to be really strict about my calorie deficit. Now, this is not advice that I think works for everybody, but it's something that I found that works for me. And it's about finding what works for you that is going to separate you from success and not. So I can feel when my body has had enough. I think I haven't overeaten to the point of ignoring those cues. It's like I always know when I'm actually full. It's just in past I would ignore that because I want the taste. I'm yearning for the comfort, especially during those 2020 times. I wanted comfort. I wanted relaxation. And this comes a lot from the eating habits that I saw in my family. So my mother was very restrictive with her eating, and it was just this up and down, like binge, and then like, oh, but restrict and only eat chicken noodle soup from a can every night at dinner. And then when I would see her eating, bigger portions or portions of things that were pleasurable and satisfying, she would always be eating it at night in front of the TV and linking that to comfort, to, everything in my life was always, you need to suffer, 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 and then you can enjoy. And that also transferred into the way that I saw her eating. It was very like suffer, 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 starve, 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 then you can enjoy. And it creates this effect of you have to starve yourself so that the reward of eating is going to be so much better and so much more well earned. And this was my downfall. So I would every time I tried to lose weight or anything, it was always that. It was always, okay, I need to suffer, 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 and then I can reward myself. And that way of eating just does not work in a regular lifestyle, in my lifestyle, I should say. So what I did this time was, yes, I said I'm going to stop eating when I'm actually full. I'm going to eat more of what I know is good for me. And I'm going to cut out most fast food, because fast food for me is my weakness. But here is what separates the unsuccessful times that I had before to the successful time that I'm having now. I don't beat myself up. If I'm craving a cheeseburger from McDonald's, I will eat it. A lot of my followers, if you guys watch Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, you'll see on my Instagram, which I'll put right here, you'll see on my Instagram, I have a lot of food in my stories. And somebody actually asked me, how do you lose all that weight, but then you're still eating like this? It's because I allow myself to eat the things that are satisfying to me, and I balance it out by eating differently on those other times. It doesn't mean that I ate salads all day. It just means that I had something that was a little less calorie dense in the day, and then I had a little bit more at night. I always skip lunch, but this is more of a choice based on my lifestyle. So I'm a teacher, and in general, during my lunch hours, obviously not now because I am not teaching right now as it's summer, but during my lunch hours, I'm doing choir rehearsals, I'm doing musical rehearsals. So I don't actually have time to eat lunch, but that's fine. I have a little bit more at breakfast time. I know it's going to last me. I go work out at the gym for about an hour and a half or so, and then I come home and I get a really great dinner prepared. Now for me, I like to have a bigger dinner. Some people like to have more of a breakfast. Some people like to have more of a lunch. Do what works for you. The reason that I do that is because I know that if I allow myself to have more at dinner time, I'm going to feel more satisfied overall. This probably goes against the grain of what other people tell you to do. Don't eat past 4 o'clock. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's a big world full of don'ts when it comes to the fitness world. And I really think it has to be more about do what works for you while still being reasonable. Is that good advice? Let me back up and tell you what I mean by that. One of the things that I do truly believe is calories in, calories out. It's just science. Now, not everybody's calorie deficit is the same. And you can test it out on yourself. I wouldn't go by just the apps that tell you what you can and cannot eat and how much you can eat, because sometimes those apps say, yes, Ashley, you can have 1,800 calories and you're still gonna lose. Realistically, no, I can't. It just doesn't work for me. So if you want to, carefully count your calories for a couple days, and then you will see, am I going down in weight, even if it's just a little bit, or am I going up, right? That's what you're gonna see. For me, I'm at the stage now where I can just go and say, if I don't eat till I'm uncomfortable, then I know that I haven't overeaten. And because of my workout regimen, I most likely, even if I'm not eating in a deficit per se, I am still burning more calories than I've eaten. But this is the mistake that I made first when it came to trying to get fit. I tried to cut out everything. Now I let myself have the butter. I let myself have bacon if I want to have bacon. It's just that I don't eat it in unreasonable amounts. I eat till I am satisfied. And that is something that can be difficult because for many of us, I think we've messed up those hunger cues. And if you are a person that maybe has really overridden that for a very long time, you might have to be a little bit more careful at first and count things out and weigh things out. But for me, I still have that cue in my body that tells me when I am too full. The biggest thing for me, I like to eat large amounts of food, so I am okay when I load up on protein. Like I have a lot of protein because it helps me feel full, regardless of, what it's doing to my muscle build or whatever. It really is about that satisfaction. I am looking for satisfaction every day. That's what I am looking for. And I think because I put satisfaction at the top of my list, that just helped me do things so much more easily. So I eat a lot of protein now. Before, I would just be eating like vegetables and yes, some protein, but not enough. I thought I was eating enough protein, but now that I am eating a lot more, I'm like, oh, that's how much my body needs because I was not eating enough before and I was trying to save my calories for the carbs. But now that I'm eating more protein, it makes me actually crave those carbs a little bit less. Is that scientific? No, I'm just sharing with you how my body works and the general feeling that I have. So all in all, I really don't, cleanly eat all the time. I try my best to make healthier choices, better choices, but I let myself have chips. I let myself have ice cream. I let myself have the things that make me joyous. I definitely don't eat as much fast food as I used to, and I certainly don't have all the extra kind of meals and snacks that I used to either. I really do try to keep it to 2 meals, breakfast and dinner. That way I have a little bit more leeway for snacks if I want some. Now let's talk about my workout regimen. So I will say that I do a lot of working out. And I am not the one in the gym like doing crazy amounts of weight, but I do a lot of Pilates. I do lift weights almost every day, and I also do a lot of cardio or other fat burning things. So I do a lot of incline walking. I try to make sure that I'm doing some sort of 500 calorie burn every single day. And this is probably why I can eat a little bit more and eat the things that I'm interested in eating. And that might not work for everybody, but I really do love working out. I've fallen in love with the gym. I have always been an athlete, obviously, but I've never liked the gym so much. And the key to this success was making it a part of my life. I am someone that's really, really good when it comes to routines. So if I just add something into my routine, I am so stubborn about it. So that is why that type of thing works for me. Working out probably 6 or 7 days a week. Occasionally I have to miss because my children need me to go and pick them up at a different time. But my husband and I have made an effort to put working out into our lifestyle. And this is where I think a lot of people, especially parents or anybody else that's very busy and has a lot of responsibilities, ends up failing. I used to be this way too. Like I used to say, wow, I'm so busy. When my kids are, teenagers, then I'll be able to put myself first and be able to work out more. And the truth is, it's just that I wasn't putting it as a priority. When there's a will, there's a way. You will make it happen. If you prioritize something, then you can make it work. Luckily, we do have a lot of support, so there are ways to do that. But right now in the summer, I have no childcare. However, I made sure to sign up for a gym that has childcare. So I'm able to take my kids every single day. It's become a part of their routine too. They know what's up. They know what's going to happen. So I'm able to do that. And now I'm at a point where I love working out so much that I go to a spin class for 50 minutes. And if you've ever been to a spin class, it is pretty intense. You burn a lot of calories, but there's not a whole lot of weight training that happens in spin class. So I will go to spin and then I'll go and lift weights afterwards. And it's really about the fact that I feel good. I feel strong. And that was what was missing before. I just didn't feel like I could get up and go and do anything. And now I feel that way and I can keep up with my kids. And I'm feeling good on the inside. And I thought that you could only feel good purely from eating 100% clean all of the time. First thing you can do when you're on your fitness journey is look at other people. I think it's one thing to be inspired by something that somebody else is doing, but comparison really is the thief of joy. And if I constantly looked at other people and said to myself, wow, I'm working out 7 days a week. They only have to work out 4 days a week and they look so much better. Like that's where the problems arise. So in the bulk of the beginning of my journey, where I think it's the hardest because you haven't actually seen like solid results yet. So that I think is the hardest part of the journey, is that I just kept saying, I want to show up for myself. And if I'm at least nourishing my body a little bit more properly and I'm feeling good, then the look will follow. And I never, this time around, really cared too much about what I looked like on the outside. It was all about like the insides. Like I was like, if my doctor, took my blood work right now, would I be in a good state? Is my cholesterol too high? Like you can tell you're in your 30s when you're worrying about stuff like that, as opposed to, do I have abs like that Victoria's Secret model? Yes or no? Now here's another tip for you guys. If you're struggling with where you are in your fitness journey, you also have to remember weight loss is not this. It's like this. Right now, for example, so I was down to 131 pounds. And right now I'm at 134 pounds. And I really didn't do anything that differently. I think I maybe ate a little bit more during the Canada Day long weekend, but I'm not punishing myself over that. And it's, again, got to get rid of this kind of thought process of punish, suffer, and don't live. Like, you have to still live your life to the fullest as you're on this journey. It's not, when I get to this size, then I'll be happy. When I get to this level of strength, then I'll be happy. It's, I love myself so much that I'm doing this for myself on a continual basis, and I'm changing my lifestyle if that's something that you need to do in order to reach your goals. And I'm happy doing it, because the problem is, if you don't look at it that way, you're continually trying to reach this impossible goalpost. It also is not going to work for you if you need outside validation in order to validate your successes. So when I first lost 10 pounds, to me, that was a lot. Like when you weigh, like for me, right, I weighed 150 pounds. And to go down to 140 pounds, that was a lot. When you weigh not that much, 10 pounds is a lot. And it's hard to do. And my friends didn't really notice. They're like, yeah, but you've always been small, or you're little. They're all like 5'9", so I'm a little shrimp in comparison to them. So they're always just like, yeah, you're little. And then I didn't see them for a little while because I was very busy, and I lost another, 7 pounds or so. And then it was like, whoa, like you've lost a lot of weight. And so had I been relying on what other people were saying, I might have been discouraged that they didn't, realize that I had put in all this work and lost all this weight. So you need to take progress pictures. No matter how much it may pain you or you might feel lazy, take them. Because if you're the type of person that needs validation, which I feel like we do, we all need validation in some form, then that is the way to go. Taking those pictures, seeing, oh, I do look better. And even though I've lost about 20 pounds, give or take on some days, I've lost about 20 pounds, but even more than that in total if we're talking about, during 2020. But for me, it was the weight training that really made the difference, because I feel stronger, I look stronger, and yeah. I don't really have an end goal. I would love to be back in my 120s again, but I'm also totally fine with staying and maintaining at this weight. One of my goals is I really want to have visible abs. That's been my goal since I was in my 20s, but I might not get there, and that's totally okay with me because of the way that I feel inside now. I've also had 2 children. And finally, none of this is about willpower. You're not weak if you aren't losing weight. You're not weak if you ate something wrong. You're not weak if you didn't go to the gym when you were supposed to. I used to always think that when I failed at doing whatever fitness goal that I had, it was because I didn't have enough willpower. I didn't have enough self-control. But in reality, it has very little to do with that. It's more about staying on track for the right reasons. And like I said, my reasons are very health related, a little bit of vanity, but really about that health component. And knowing if I eat that, I'm probably not going to feel good, even in the short term. So I'm going to do the things that make me feel good. And I feel so much more confident now too. I feel very confident in my body. I feel very confident in just the fact that I'm doing everything I can to love myself. And that's also another component. Again, it's not suffer, suffer, suffer. It's love yourself. And then for me, that's what really has worked. So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell. Tonight, what I'm having for dinner is I'm going to be having a Caesar salad and probably half a rotisserie chicken. Like I said, guys, I like my protein. I also worked out today. I did an incline walk, and then I also did some ab work. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can get monetized on this channel. And I have a lot more things to share just about success in general. I want to do another video on that. I have more things coming your way, by the way. I have more plans for this channel. I know I keep teasing this and saying this, but I really mean it. And I am someone that follows through. So I hope you guys keep me accountable. Bye.